I kid you not, like as soon as I started the camera, like my eyes, like my vision just went blurry. Not gonna lie. Kinda scary. Today, I really don't feel like putting on makeup or at least making myself look somewhat presentable. I'm gonna have to settle for this webcam quality. Just pretend that we're on FaceTime, like, form like a little parasocial relationship with me. If you don't know me, form this parasocial relationship with me. And if you know me, just act like you're on FaceTime with me, Disclaimer, I've been wanting to talk about these books for quite a while, and this script has just been collecting dust in my Notion for quite a while. Not gonna lie, like a year. But while I like to think that I'm not an inconsistent reader, I can't lie that I do have inconsistent motivation. Anyways, without further ado, let's dive in. We're starting off with One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus, and I give this a 3 stars. In this book, you follow 5 students into the detention room. Only 4 came out. One of them died, so they think one of them murdered this kid, and one of them is lying. So this book has multiple POVs from each of the 4 main characters. Basically, the 4 people that got out of the room because obviously one's dead. So here's my problem with it. If you're gonna write a multiple point of view story, you're gonna have to make sure that all of your characters are individualized, and like from the writing itself, you can tell like what character are the readers reading about. It throws me off so much because sometimes I don't realize there's a change in character and I'm like, wait, what? I would say like a good book that did this like have multiple POVs and we are able to tell because the characters are so distinct. They are an individual, they have their own mind, and the way they think are all very different. I would say 6 of course did it really well. Like most of the time I don't even have to check like who's talking in this chapter. But like for this book I do have to check that for multiple times because like I said, the characters are just not distinct. And secondly, I would say there are a few problematic elements that I just can't close my eyes to. Like number 1, the harmful representation of mental illness. And it's a lot like 13 Reasons Why. And while 13 Reasons Why glamorizes mental disorders, this book villainizes it. So weird. Why can't we just discuss about mental health normally? Number 2, the way that the author uses sexuality as a scandalous plot twist. Like someone being not straight is not something that is new. Like, I don't know. I also feel like it might be because I'm old. If I read this when I was younger, I would definitely enjoy this book more. The next book is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I give this 3 stars as well. In this book, you follow a girl. She's very dirt poor, but one day she suddenly receives a call that says she received a whole shitload of fortune from a billionaire she never even knew. All of this comes under a condition. She must live in his mansion for 1 year, accompanied by his 4 grandsons who've just learned of their disinheritance. So why was she chosen and who she can trust? So this is the first installment to the series, The Inheritance Games, and I feel like it's just not quite there. And it's such a shame because I bought this book because it was marketed as the young adult Knives Out, and while I can see the resemblance, I'm also like, how dare you put these 2 together? Because I don't know, I personally feel like they can't stand beside each other. I also think that, TikTok blew this book out of proportion. Probably why I had like such high expectations for it. Nevertheless, because I gave it 3 stars, it was still like a fun read. It's a pretty fast-paced book, and I think the author did a pretty good job in setting up the first few chapters for intrigue. And I really do enjoy getting to know all the four Hawthorne brothers, except that their characters was just not fully fleshed out, just a bit too surface level. But I get it, because this book is, it's a series, so I guess like I have to read like more if I want to know more about the Hawthorne brothers, but I don't want to know more. The reveal came on like why was Avery selected. It was just like, it was not, I don't know, this is not satisfactory what I'm trying to say. I feel like my energy was like going down. I don't know, I feel like I have criticized this book like a little bit too many times, to the point that when I'm trying to talk about it again, it's just, it takes the energy out of me to talk about it again. And that's like the whole relevant subplot about Emily, and she does not contribute anything to the plot. Can't tell you why she didn't contribute anything to the plot, but if you read the book, you'll know why. Next book is Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. I give this book a 5 stars. This Between Shades of Grey book, I haven't told you what the book is about. This book is about one night when the Soviet officers barge into her home, who is her, Colleen, barge into Lena's home, tearing Lena's family from the comfortable life they've known. Separated from her father, forced onto a crowded and dirty train car, Lena, her mother, and her young brother slowly make their way north, crossing the Arctic Circle to a work camp in the closest reaches of Siberia. Here they are forced under Stalin's order to dig for beets and fight for their lives under the cruelest of conditions. So this story tells us about the effects of World War II to other European countries, and I don't know, more often than not, it's probably just my ignorance, but more often than not, I feel like when we discuss about World War II, we only talk about Hitler and his atrocities towards Jewish people, but we forgot that there is no single one bad man in this horrific time. The book tells you about like the effect of World War II to Baltic region, so like Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and it's also very shameful that I never learned about this part of history and these regions, partly because I'm so awful at geography, but now I know, and I think that's still something amazing. Amazing! It's 5 stars! 5 stars all the way! Have I said the rating? Have I not? I probably haven't, but like, just so you know, it's 5 stars. This book is so well written. I feel like it does not write like a YA at all. I was actually surprised to see that it was actually in the YA section. Obviously, it was not a pleasure to read. It was brutal. It got me crying, sobbing at the airport at 3 a.m. And the fact that this book is actually her debut novel, Ruta Sepetys. I love accurate historical fictions. Another one that I like that is also under the historical fiction genre, which is also YA, is Under the Weight of the Sky by Hanna Alkaf, and that book is about 13 May 1969. It's about a racial war between the Chinese and the Malays in Malaysia, and this book follows our main character who struggles with OCD. She was under belief that she is under the possession of jinns, shaitan. If you want to know more about Malaysia history, I would really recommend that. There's also a webtoon version of that book. Anyways, going back to Between Shades of Grey. So yeah, I would say I'm glad to have the opportunity to read it, and I highly recommend it. I read this book because Joanna Cedia liked this book so much, and I get it now. I get why she likes the book so much. So moving on to the next book, 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Jenkins reads, and I give this a 5 star. It's very important that I address that while I do enjoy this book so much, there are problematic elements that so many people have addressed, but I'm closing one eye quite literally, and it's like, I do like this book. But yeah, you should go and check out, like, people have made like videos, TikToks, like even when you go on Goodreads, there are a lot of people just like listing out why this book is problematic, and I really do stress that you go and check those out. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is honestly spectacular, and I absolutely adore books that like incorporate multiple forms of media into it. So there, in this book, there's like gossip columns, there's newspaper articles. She's such a good writer. Like the way that she writes, like the sensationalization of, like, you know, gossip columns in general, the language of it. It's just Taylor Jenkins Reid is so good at writing, like, you know, that gossip columns. Evelyn Hugo's character, I don't know, I like that she's very morally grey. Like, I think this is who Snape or Dumbledore like thought they were. They thought they were like morally grey. They thought Evelyn Hugo just is, you know. And I enjoy every single interaction our Monica, our main character, have with Evelyn Hugo. And as you go deeper into the book, you'll see like how Evelyn Hugo has like influenced Monica's mindset in more ways than one. To stand up for herself, to like believe in her own worth, to seize up the opportunity, to be ruthless and unforgiving. I do agree that the way Taylor Jenkins Reid writes about our main character, about our main character, despite her being mixed, the way that she writes about her just feels very white. And the way, like, I kid you not, when I was reading the book, I was like, I need to check. Like, is Miss Taylor Jenkins Reid white? And she is. She discussed about our two other main characters, which is Evelyn Hugo and Celia St. James. Just feel very weird. I don't know whether she intended for it to be that way. Like, I understand that queer relationships can be messy, and if you're queer, it doesn't automatically mean that you're a nice person, but it just also feels off. And the way that Miss Evelyn and Miss Celia St. James never really properly discuss about the problems and the communication problems they were having in their relationship just feels a bit Anyways, I don't think I'm gonna be picking up any of her other books because I know that she has a specific niche, which good for her. And I'm so happy for her, and she's good at it. I doubt that I would enjoy it because she's an amazing writer. I'm pretty sure if I do enjoy Evelyn Hugo, I would enjoy her other books. But I feel like I probably have a little bit too much attachment to Miss Evelyn Hugo. And I'm afraid that I wouldn't enjoy Evelyn as much anymore if I read her other books. Do what you will with that information. So the next book is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I give it a 3 stars. And so let me tell you about what this book is about. The reason why I picked up this book was because 2 of my teachers actually recommended this book. But I feel like it's just meh. I feel like because in the very beginning of the book, the plot is already spoiled. I think I would appreciate it a lot better if, like, I learn with Kate, our main character, about their real purpose. Because, like, the way the book is set up is just, it's like current time and then flashback, current time and then flashback. I think I would appreciate it a lot better if I actually follow Kate from when she was still young and I learn it with her. Instead of like when I was reading this book, I just felt like this impending dread. So the common theme between Ishiguro's books, I only read one, but I feel like I know already his niche, is this sort of like Black Mirror-esque theme, like so the ethics of behind the like the ethics behind the rapid development of technology. So like AI, but make it dark. Not really technology, but organization, but make it dark. Like how much humans would do for themselves and how much humans would do for the development of technology. And not gonna lie, this book has like a really interesting setup for like the world building, but it's not really giving. There was this one Goodreads reviews that I feel like really explains how I feel about the world building. This book has good ideas, but they're not focused. That's how I feel about Kazuo Ishiguro's world building. But I guess this is how he writes, which I feel like some people will enjoy, some people will not. I personally feel like I want to know more about the world. The book does leave me empty, so that's up to your interpretation whether that's good or not. I am a bit upset that I wasn't as impressed as I thought I would be, because I saw so many people online. I was like, this book is so dreadful, I'm just really sad. But I'm just like, okay. And when I finished it, not gonna lie, it was like, I'm glad that I finished it. Next book is On Earth You Are Briefly Gorgeous by Vuong, and I give this a 3/4 out of stars, like 3.5 out of stars. This book is about, okay, let me see if I remember what the book is about. The book is about the author writes a letter to his illiterate mother. So this book is in the format of a letter. His experience of being queer, his experience of growing up under an abusive mother, but also understands that she is abusive because of like what she went through. I hope that explains what the book is about. So this book, like I said, it's like I'm a bit on the fence about it. This book has a shit ton of metaphors and lyricism and very, very fancy prose. So you're gonna have to like rack up your brain a little bit. For me personally, I feel like the reason why I couldn't give the book like a 5 stars was because I feel like the main story sometimes got lost in between all of the metaphors and abstracism, lyricism, the interspersed animal discovery channel. Like, I feel like it's trying a little bit too hard to appear quote-unquote beautiful. Who am I to say? I'm not a writer. I'm only a reader and not really a good reader at that. But like, I feel like you can let your story to tell the beauty. You don't have to be a little bit too lyrical. But like, I get it, because Vuong is a poet, and I understand like that's probably the way that he writes. But like I said, the main story sometimes got lost. With that being said, Vuong has like an incredible talent of like threading pain and beauty together in his stories. Incredible and spectacular way, but it's also very, very heart-wrenching. A little bit of spoiler, but it's like essentially he understands that the reason why his mother is abusive was because she also didn't grow up in a mentally healthy environment, so she really didn't have the emotional intelligence to express her feelings properly, so she takes it out on our author. Here's another part in the book that is just so heartbreaking, because as someone who comes from a country that was formerly colonized by the British, I understand this on a very different level. No object is in a constant relationship with pleasure, wrote Barth. For the writer, however, it is the mother tongue. But what if the mother tongue is stunted? What if that tongue is not only the symbol of a void, but is itself a void? What if the tongue is cut out? Can one take pleasure in loss without losing oneself entirely? The Vietnamese I own is the one you gave me, the one whose diction and syntax reach only the second grade level. As a girl you watched from a banana grove your schoolhouse collapse after an American napalm raid. At 5 you never stepped into a classroom again. Our mother tongue, then, is no mother at all, but an orphan. Our Vietnamese a time capsule, a mark of where your education ended, ashed. Ma, to speak in our mother tongue is to speak only partially in Vietnamese, but entirely in war. My heart literally wrecked when I was reading the part, and I think obviously we all know the effects of war. I don't think everyone knows. We know that it would affect the people and its culture, and I know language is a part of culture, but like the way he writes about it, and the fact that this is also happening in Malaysia, like you can see the effect of it in the way that a lot of Malaysian parents opted to only teach English and speak English only to their children because they think that English more than all other language in the world. I don't know, I feel like it's so unfair that some parents just decided to close the door to their children's ethnicity and culture just because in their own selfish opinion that it's a lot more advantageous for your children to know English compared to Malay. And like I'm going off on a tangent about this obviously, but like when I was in uni, I took psycholinguistics. There is not a single research that shows bilingualism comes with disadvantages. There's literally only advantages, and disadvantages extend to like when you're older. And it's not just in terms of like, benefits to the brain. It also comes with a lot of benefits to like social life, like social interaction. It upsets me because like in this era and time where being bilingual brings a lot of like advantages, some parents just decided to close that door of opportunities right in their face. Like I'm not like I'm not a hidup Melayu kind of person. It's just that I love language and I love being able to speak Malay and I love being able to speak English as well. Like look at me talking about this while I'm also speaking English. Being able to speak two languages when you're living in a country that primarily speaks English and you speak Malay right in front of their face and them not understanding what you say. It's so fun. It's really so fun. You won't understand it if you only speak in English. Like teach your children more languages. So the book I'm going to review after this, I'm sorry, but I hate this book. This book is Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki, and this is 2 stars. Laura Dean keeps breaking up with me, and Laura Dean makes me want to fight a minor. As per the title, this book is about Laura Dean keeps on breaking up with the main character. And I get it. Like, I appreciate that this book gives space to queer... Ooh, the lighting has changed. Queer relationships to be messy and complicated and not as simple as the media seem to portray it. But at the same time, I feel like this graphic novel is a graphic novel. This graphic novel is a little bit too ambitious in trying to discuss a lot of heavy social issues. So all of the social issues that they were trying to discuss are all just ended up being surface level. It upsets me because I feel like this book, while it's not really clearly written for me, it was for kids that are under 15. You discuss these heavy social issues and you do not provide any nuance. Kids do not understand that. And I feel like the characters are bland. There isn't enough character building. I feel like even though I'm reading about them, but I only know a thing or two about them, and that's really just it. I wasn't able to form any specific emotions towards any characters except for unresolved anger issues towards Laura Dean. I did write a review on Goodreads in which I'll leave a link in the description down below. So glad that we're talking about the last book now. This book is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. This book, I give this a 3 stars. I really would recommend if you're gonna read this book, I would really recommend to go and check the trigger warnings before reading this book, because I didn't do that. And personally, when I was reading the book, a lot of the things that were discussed in this book were things that trigger me. So I found myself not being able to be completely immersed in the book because I'm just like also flipping the book really quickly because I hate all the triggering scenes in the book. Another thing I would also like to say about this book is that I do feel like TikTok blew it out of proportion, but like not in a good way, because people talk about like this other love interest that is, his name is Atlas. People talk about him like a little bit too much, but literally there's not much of Atlas inside the book. The book is literally about something else. The book is about ending the abusive cycle. Our main character is likable and lovable, but I do find it a little bit YA-ish. The writing and the character reads a lot like Wattpad. They're not young, but they act like teenagers, and I find it a little bit off-putting. If you're going to read the book, I would really recommend reading the author's note at the end of the book because it was so emotional. It's so funny that I actually cried reading like the 2 pages at the end of the book instead of like this whole book that is about that. I don't think I'll be picking up any of her books. Colleen Hoover's books are one of those books that I am not gonna read. You literally can do anything and everything to me, but I would not read it. I believe that's the end of this video. Yeah, there are a few other books I have read, but I didn't mention in this book, like this book, because I'm still forming coherent thoughts about them, even though I've read this book probably like last year. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if there's something that you enjoy watching, or if there are any books that you would like to read. So just leave them in the comments below. I'll go and read them. Click the like and subscribe button if you want to. Up to you, honestly. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.